Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the One Piece Monkey D. Luffy Run 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 figure. Now, I don't really know the context for this figure specifically. I believe it had something to do with one of the end credit sequences, or it's a reference to an end credit sequence in one of the series of One Piece. But I don't watch the anime, or at least I don't watch enough of the anime to know stuff like that. I just sort of watch a few highlights from where I am in the manga. But the point of why I got this and why I'm looking at this is because I wanted child versions of a lot of the One Piece characters, and I know that sounds just a little bit weird just saying that out loud, but basically I wanted the kid versions because a lot of the most emotional flashbacks in One Piece involve the kids, and I like a lot of those sequences because they're always interesting or heartbreaking, or they really show you how characters have grown. And I like the idea of having a row of all of the Straw Hats as kids and then a row of all of them as adults pre time skip or post time skip, and just having sort of like a step ladder sort of design of my figures. And seeing as they were announced this and Zoro at the same time, I was like, oh, cool, we'll get more of these figures and I'll be able to do something like that, because the POP Kids line is weirdly hard to get and some of them don't look that great because they're old figures. It's just the regular One Piece figure curse for older stuff. So when they announced this, I was pretty much on board immediately and was like, yeah, let's go, this will be great. Anyway, the ones that they announced after Luffy and Zoro were Yamato and Uta. So I don't think that we're going to get the Straw Hats, or at least we're not going to get them all anytime soon, because I think they announced two more after that, which I believe is Law and Sanji. Sanji, fantastic, that's great. Happy to have more Straw Hats. But yeah, if it's a figure line that's already six deep or thereabouts, and only three of them are the Straw Hats, I think we'll be here for a while. But I've committed so far, so I guess we're here. Anyway, we're talking about the Run 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 figures, and this is made by Mega House, who do most of the One Piece scales, so all the Portrait of Pirates line. But this is part of the Gem line, which is typically used for other brands, like, say, Digimon, Demon Slayer. I think Yu-Gi-Oh's used it in the past. A bunch of different things have used it in the past. But basically, Mega House does a bunch of denominations of like, oh, the Portrait of Pirates line is One Piece, or Gem is like for other figures, or the lookup figures and things like that. There's always different denominations, but Gem have very, very rarely ever touched One Piece, if at all, as far as I know. So this seems very interesting, and it's a cool line to choose. And generally, my experience with Mega House, in particular the Gem line, have been paint errors and inconsistencies, and they're so figures. Thankfully, Luffy looks good, and much like the Portrait of Pirates, they can't afford to screw up, so they have to do a good job. And it seems like that has carried over here. Now, out of the box, it's a pretty simple figure. It's just Luffy, a nice little beach with water, and an acrylic pole up his leg. Now, a lot of people weren't too sure about the pole, and I'm not too sure either. I do prefer it over the metal rod that they showed in the promo images because that's way more noticeable. But clear plastic, you can sort of hide it or sort of fake it a bit that it's not quite there, which works okay. It's definitely preferable to the metal rod. And yeah, he looks good, but one of the interesting things about it is they don't really tell you, or at least I couldn't find the instructions for it in the box. They don't show you how to remove the head and put in the straw hat. And it's actually very interesting because Luffy has a ball jointed head, so you can make him look around in different directions and sort of change the aesthetic of the figure just a little bit, which is kind of cool. I am sort of scared removing the head from the ball joint, and because it's stuck in there quite solidly, but it's fine. Um, but it is interesting that they went that route, and if they'll go that route for other characters, like, will they all have ball joints even if they don't have swappable pieces, just because Luffy had a ball joint? I don't know. But I know that some of the older not pop-up parades, Portrait of Pirates had a ball jointed head as well and did a similar thing. So that's cool. It's nice. I like it. But aesthetically, the sculpt is nice. It's very simple. He's running. It's cute. It's funny. It's Luffy. His expression is definitely Luffy. It's literally just Luffy shrunk down. He's pretty damn accurate to him as a kid from what I remember. He's got a little scar under his eye. He's got the classic One Piece smile and his hair's a mess. This is the Straw Hat before it got chopped up and before it went on more adventures with Luffy. Or at least I think it's Shanks's Straw Hat. Like, it's hard to tell because the Straw Hat's so synonymous with Luffy that you imagine that they would have just given it to him anyway. But he doesn't get that until like Shanks leaves, so I don't know if it is after Shanks left. I don't know. But he's got a straw hat with him. And I say that I'm not 100% sure if it's Shanks's one just because the coloration is kind of dark. It's more leading on brown than it is the sort of like orangey browny yellow that they typically use. Or at least that's what it looks like to me. But Luffy, as a kid, maintains a lot of the aesthetic that he does as a teenager, which is the sort of half-cut shorts with the little cuff of like white or whatever the color is at the time before his knees, sandals, flip-flops, or as we say in Australia, thongs, and a t-shirt that roughly replicates his little vest that he has pre-time skip. And yeah, there's really nothing too crazy about it. It's a very simple sculpt, but very clean and very well executed. I like the folds in his outfit. I like the folds in the straw hat. I like the very simple but very effective ripple in the water, and it works as a secondary base to hold him up. And it's just very nice, very clean, very well executed. The paint job is nice. I haven't noticed any errors at all, which is great because Mega House, like I said, sometimes make errors on the gem line or just in general, but thankfully for most, if not all of my One Piece figures, not really any issues so much, and if they are issues, it's usually a second-hand thing. But yeah, it's quite good. There's nothing really too crazy to talk about with this figure. It's just a very well executed, simple design. It's nice, it's good, the colors are on point, it reads as the character, and I do like conceptually how we'll be able to line up all of these figures with each other and create a sort of scene of them all running in the same direction or thereabouts. A little bit weird that the bases won't actually connect in terms of like the aesthetic. Like, not every single base will be like a beach with water. It'll be other things, but they're all roughly around the same sort of like clamshell-ish slight design. It's hard to explain. It's at this little slope. And all of them should connect roughly together and create a nice little scene, even if they are sort of environmentally divided, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just a good figure, solid figure, pretty inexpensive, thankfully. But who knows what the future figures will be like if they do like Kid Kaido. Can only imagine that he would be massive. Or Big Mom as a kid, because apparently she's huge as well. I mean, she's called Big Mom. And yeah, it's just a very rock solid figure. Nothing to really write home about. It has gimmicks, but it's sort of just there. It's an accessory, it's simple. It's nothing too crazy at all. It's exactly what it looks like. And I think that that's perfectly fine. And especially at the price point, it's perfectly fine, because if it went any higher, then that'd be a problem. But yeah, it's nice to have any One Piece stuff that is brand new. I don't like having so many pre-owned figures from One Piece. It sort of comes with the territory. But I would like more pre-time skip figures being made, because the whole playback memory line that they are doing and continue to do is quite good, and it's a good concept. They should continue it for characters that don't get a lot of figures, and specifically do it for me because I want a whole set of pre-time skip straw hats that are modernized, because older figures just do not hold up anymore. And even then, post-time skip figures, there's some really old ones. But I'm really, really getting off topic. The Run 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 Luffy is quite good. Conceptually, it's interesting, and it's just a solid figure. I am kind of fearful for the future of the line just because it seems like we're already veering off course. And this figure only just came out and they're already committing very, very hard to it. So we'll see how things are in, say, like 6 to 8 months' time. The line might be even messier than it is already. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.